Hi, I'm Dave Klein, and this is the Cymulate Cybersecurity Newscast. Last week, we talked about a problem with Microsoft Teams that allowed malicious GIFs to be sent and create a reverse shell. And this was due to poor permissions within Microsoft Teams. This week, we have a new exploit, a new proof of concept exploit and vulnerability that was discovered by a group called Vectra. What they discovered is in the desktop version of Microsoft Teams for Linux, for Mac, and for Windows, they store the authentication tokens in the clear. This is a challenge for twofold. One, it means that anyone can take advantage of these tokens within Teams, and then since most of the time Teams is incorporated as an Office 365 suite thing, now you have access to the person's email, to the person's OneDrive, and it continues from there. So the group Vectra did come out with a proof of concept exploit showing how this works. In contacting Microsoft, like last week, they said it's working as designed. This is kind of not really true. The application is made in a thing called Electron, and they said, well, Electron is a cross-platform tool to make desktop applications using Node.js. The truth is there are several best practices on hardening Node.js Electron, so that does not happen. So I'll put a link to the Vectra report in the notes section of the video, as well as how to secure, if you're a developer, if you're using Electron to create multi-platform applications on desktops, I'll show you how to harden it so it does not have the token in the clear. And finally, if you're using Microsoft Teams, the workaround right now is not to use the desktop version of the application. I know this is difficult for many of you out there in enterprise to enforce, but that's going to be important. I will keep track this week of both of these Microsoft Team proof of concept exploits and see if Microsoft changes their mind on either of them to create patches and fixes. I believe they will, so stay tuned. Uber was hit with a major cyber attack this week with lessons for everyone. Basically, in the beginning of the week, we were looking around and saw that a lot of Uber employees were tweeting that someone had hacked their company and was creating obscene messages taunting the company on the company's Slack server. So this sent all sorts of investigators out to understand what was going on. And what we found out was the attacker, apparently an 18-year-old, and he or she was more interested in fame and fortune than, in fame than fortune, and was liberally talking about what they had done and how they did it. So what happened? The attacker was able to get control of the entire system from their security software, Active Directory, AWS single sign-on, the Google Workspace admin dashboard, vSphere, EXXI, among other things, and the Slack server, of course, where they were sending obscene messages on. And what happened here was kind of ironic. Basically, the company had administrators, and what a lot of people do with administrators is buy a privilege account management solution. A privilege account management solution prevents people from keeping spreadsheets or other notepads with username and passwords. It's ways to make the process of having power users safe in environments. But what happened here? One of the administrators created a PowerShell, and in the script of the PowerShell, hard-coded the username and password for that privilege account management software. So again, the lessons here, folks, you have administrators, you have technical staff, you absolutely need a privilege account management solution. You shouldn't be saving username and passwords in spreadsheets, on file shares, or ever script them into scripts. The idea is if you create a script, pop the PAM to invoke someone to do username and password and multi-factor authentication. You never hard code the PAM into a script or any credentials for that fact. Food for thought. A pro-Russian government hacker group called KillNet, who's been known for using DDoS to support the Russian government, is in the news again this week. They were known for things like attacking Lithuania, its power companies, and its government, attacking Italy in both situations over their support of Ukraine in their war against the Russian aggressors. During the Eurovision contest, this same group tried to DDoS the voting lines when the Ukrainian band was performing. This time, they attacked Japan, again for support of Ukraine over Russia, taking down 20 websites across 4 Japanese government agencies, as well as some larger Japanese customer companies and an eGov portal. Some takeaways here. It's so important that your web services these days are in the cloud where your larger pipes are. Even better if you have a content delivery network, which caches the responses closer to the users and offers DDoS protection. Things like Akamai does that, Cloudflare, StackPath, and CDN77, for example. And also there's all sorts of network configurations you could do, such as dropping ICMPs and DNS responses from outside your network. Some good things to take away and think about today in your environment in the enterprise. And that's the Cymulate Cybersecurity Newscast for the week. I'm Dave Klein. See you next time.